Well, very quick turnaround for Newcastle United, just 3 days on from that win over Manchester United. A very poor Manchester United side, and the aftermath of that game has been all about how bad Man United were, really. But for Newcastle, realistically, if you think about it, they can only beat what's in front of them. And Newcastle's tactics, they pulled them off the press, they got it all right, and that's why Manchester United got beat. It wasn't just because they're so bad. You've got to give Newcastle some credit. I don't think they've had that credit in the last few days, but the coaching staff here will not care one jot about who gets credit. It's all about who gets the wins. And Newcastle now going to this one, which a lot of people have said it already, that this is a harder game than Manchester United. They're all going to be tough at this stage of the season. Crystal Palace come here, they put up a fight against Man City, going 2-0 up, but the class of Man City told in the end, and they got thumped 5-2. Newcastle will be hoping that there's no sort of curveballs in this one and they don't fall behind in this game. For Newcastle, really, they just want to get the 3 points on the board, take them up to third. That'll put them in a really good position going into those last 6 games. Crystal Palace come here on the back of the corresponding fixture last time around. 1-1 down at Selhurst Park. They got a 94th minute equaliser. It was a tough day for Eddie Howe that day. Unfortunately, Eddie Howe's still recovering from pneumonia, won't be here tonight. So the realistic situation for Newcastle is they've got to dig deep now. They've got to fight for the manager, who's been really ill, and they've now got to really put on a show for the fans here tonight. I think it's very clear now that Newcastle aren't interested in the Europa League. They're not interested in the Europa Conference League. It's the Champions League what they want. It's the Champions League that's there for them. It's up for grabs. They've got to take that opportunity tonight at St James's Park. Well, Newcastle United have just pulled off a massive victory against Crystal Palace. 5-0. We can't take this for granted. Newcastle United just picking off teams like this and chalking up huge victories, because that's what that was tonight. And have to be totally honest, the crazy thing about this is that it could have been so many more. Alexander Isak probably could have had a hat-trick in that game. But 5-0 is something you would take all day long. It boosts Newcastle's goal difference. It puts them into third place with 6 games left. Then they now face Aston Villa, one of the rivals for the Champions League places, and they can really push on after that win. But look, what I saw there tonight, I mean, putting the goals aside for a moment, what I saw there tonight was confidence. A team well drilled, organised. Yes, Eddie Howe is unavailable at the minute because of illness, but the work he's put in with that team on the training pitch, it's starting to pay dividends there tonight. Every player knows the role. Every player knows the standards. It was just great to see. If you look at some of the goals, particularly Isak's, for the number 5, Joe Linton just going in and winning that tackle to put him in. The pressing, everything about it. There's so much to admire about this Newcastle United team. We've all spoken in the past about, the big teams, the entertainers, Sir Bobby Robson's team as well, which, wooed the fans a long time ago. But this team's different. This team rolls its sleeves up, works hard. It's just so well drilled. That's the best way of putting it. And I think, tonight we saw that on that pitch tonight, on the hallowed turf, under the lights. Massive win. Just puts Newcastle in a great position now, and hopefully they can complete this job. But where'd you start with it, really? I mean, Jacob Murphy, the howitzer from the acute angle, that got the party started, if you like. The second goal, Harvey Barnes, deflection off Marc Guehi, makes it 2-0. Then Harvey Barnes, weighs in with another great strike after Tonali's ball through for him. 4-0 before the break. Going in 4-0 up at half time is quite ridiculous anyway. But look, what a move that was as well. Kieran Trippier, everyone expecting him to cross. Little back heel, pulled back by Murphy into the box. And there's Fabian Schär to just flick home. So that was 4-0. And then, as I say, Isak for number 5 after Joe Linton's steal after the press. So just fantastic to watch. And as I say, it could have been many more. Inevitably, Newcastle couldn't, build up and get 8 or 9 in this game. It happens, it's human nature. Once the game's won, you're going to ease off a little bit. But look, Newcastle in a great place at the minute. That's a great win. Let's hope now they take this to Aston Villa at the weekend. Let's get this sealed early. But, just talking to Jason Tindall then, the press conference, he's saying this team wants to finish as high as it possibly can, which means second is still potentially on the agenda for Newcastle United. Exciting times ahead.